Hi guys, my name is Stevie Callista and I'm an astrologer. Today in this video I want to talk to you guys about what's coming astrologically. What's coming in the winter of 2020 and what's coming in 2021. I wanted to give you a little bit of insight on the bigger picture, astrologically speaking. So on November 12th, 13th, depending on where you're living in the world, Mars is moving direct, which means we're going to start to see forward momentum again, which is really exciting. Especially since September, we've been in a really backwards movement revisitation period of time where we've been shown our fears, we've been shown our anxieties, we've been triggered by relationships, we've been in the pressure cooker. We're moving forward. And then just a day before that, we have the third and final Pluto conjunct Jupiter. So the first one was in April, and then the second one was in June, and the third one is in November. So this is the last hill or the last dance of Jupiter-Pluto together. And what that really means is Pluto is the planet of shadows, death, and trauma, and rebirth, and transformation. And Jupiter is the one that expands everything and brings it to light so that we can see the bigger picture. Jupiter and Pluto's dance together means that Jupiter is going to bring things up below the surface, like all kinds of truths, all kinds of information. Oftentimes throughout history, Jupiter, Pluto have brought up, pandemics or plagues. Oftentimes this is where you're going to see these happen in history, is when Jupiter and Pluto dance together. This is the third and final time. Definitely not saying that the virus is over by any means, but it is the last time that they come together. You can expect that some truths will come out within yourself in some of these like shadowy areas. Maybe you thought that you were done with them. Maybe you thought that you were past that part of you, or past that behavior in yourself, right? It's definitely a time of getting really triggered by other people and then projecting your stuff onto them. That's been a lot of this fall too, is like feeling the collective anger and anxiety and all of that. And like, do you let it move through you without attaching to it, or do you then project it onto somebody else? That's your choice. But Jupiter and Pluto together are definitely going to be bringing up these shadows and hardships and traumas within ourselves, within the collective. They also, Jupiter wants truth. So he's going to drudge up from the underworld or from the depths of the ocean, all these things that need to come to light. So you can expect that, yes, we're hearing a lot of information and we don't necessarily know what is true, but Jupiter ultimately wants the truth and is the truth. We also have the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn on December 21st on the winter solstice of 2020. So this is a really big deal. I've definitely spoken about it in my videos before, and if you follow any astrologers, they probably are talking about it as well. Saturn is structures and systems and foundations of things and tradition, and Jupiter is expansion, positivity, dreams, growth, truth. So if you kind of infuse them together, it means that you can take the discipline and responsibility and structure that Saturn has and marry it with Jupiter, creating a new dream, expanding ourselves, growing ourselves. And the really interesting part about this, again, I've spoken about this in past videos, but it's very important to kind of consider the big picture here. We have been, Jupiter and Saturn have been dancing in earth signs for 200 years. And this is the first time in a very long time that they will be dancing in an air sign of Aquarius at 0 degrees on the solstice. So this is a really important day. It's when we can create a new dream. And it's going to be in air this time, which means valuing ideas and innovative information and technology that will help our planet, our future. It's valuing humanity and the collective versus the individual. In the last 200 years, we've definitely valued money, earthy things like materialism. And in the air cycle, it's much more about ideas and humanity. So you can expect those themes coming. Knowing this big picture of astrology has really helped me not attach myself to like who wins the election or how humanity goes about this. Like, not saying it's not going to be painful and traumatizing in a lot of ways for people, but also just knowing what's coming, knowing that we're stepping into this new era of time, no matter how we do it, it's still happening, In 2021, there's a lot less intensity with the astrology. Not saying it's rainbows and sunshine, but we had a really intense year with Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter all being in Capricorn. Among so many other things, we had lots of eclipses, we had lots of retrogrades. There's a lot of work that we had to do as humanity, honestly, and a lot of things that we had to see within ourselves in order to move into this new cycle of time. So in 2021, what you can expect is the biggest thing to talk about would be Uranus-Saturn squaring. Saturn, like the structures and systems of the old, of the tradition, and Uranus is all about freedom, liberation, the new, the innovation. So when planets square each other, it means that there's tension and they're squaring up. So you're kind of talking about the like push-pull between the old structures and systems and the new freedom and liberation that we're moving into. And really what I want to talk about too is how Saturn can bring up, and we're seeing this a lot now, of like the fear. So as humans, when we are scared or we have anxiety, we often move back towards what feels safe, and it can feel like old patterns and maybe things that aren't healthy for us, but we do them because they make us feel safe and they're really familiar. Saturn. And Uranus is the one that's going to earthquake us, lightning bolt us, shake the ground below us in order to have freedom and liberation. And Uranus doesn't care how long it takes. Saturn's the uphill, the uphill climber that's going to take one step at a time towards its goal. And Uranus is just like, screw it, I'm going to earthquake, or like, I'm going to blow it up. And it's going to be like that. So with Uranus comes unexpected. With Saturn comes restriction and responsibility. So old structures and fears that make us feel safe, but then Uranus is going to shake us so much we realize these are not sustainable. These actually aren't safe. These actually aren't healthy for us. These actually no longer work for us. And staying in the fear because it feels safe, because it's what we've grown up with, is no longer what's going to bring in the new era of time. So 2021 is really it's gonna be this push-pull between those two things. Like, how do we use what we've built and create new from there? And also, like, how do we become shooken up enough to liberate ourselves from these old scary patterns that we've been in for so long? So ultimately, it's a bit like the old isn't safe anymore, and we're going to be shooken up so that we can finally see that. And it might be hard and intense, just like 2020, but also so necessary for our growth as a society and as a humanity towards unity versus division. I hope that this gives you some perspective, even on what's going on right now. And let me know if you have any questions in the comment box. Feel free to email me at any time. I'm happy to answer or clarify anything that I'm speaking about. And also, I am giving birth chart readings over the phone. They take about an hour and a half. You can send me an email and we can set that up if that's something you're interested in. Sending love, guys. Hang in there. Everything's temporary, I swear.